What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Santa Paul. Please excuse the quarantine look, but that's what happens when you're 80% of the time locked indoors. But anyway, welcome to the 2020 Toyota Supra, and yes folks, this car is everything we petrol heads hoped for. Toyota basically took a 2JZ engine, upgraded the power figures, paired it with a 6-speed manual transmission, fitted a huge wing on the back, and created a new Toyota Supra. But that's just what you and me petrol heads wanted to hear about the new Toyota Supra. Because underneath this body, this car is actually a BMW Z4 with a roof. It's got the same engine, the same transmission, the same suspension system and the same exhaust. And unfortunately, this trend doesn't stop here. Because on the inside, the Supra features a BMW steering wheel, BMW dials, BMW's iDrive system along with all of its controls, the same climate control unit as any other modern BMW, the same button layouts, and it even shares the exact same key. But to be fair, BMW and Toyota both said that this Supra Z4 project would never happen without one of the two parties involved. And I have to salute the fact that these two companies partnered up to produce two low-volume enthusiast cars instead of, you know, an SUV. This car got quite a lot of backlash and I'm struggling to figure out why. I mean, it has one of the best 3-liter petrol engines out there, a 6-cylinder unit. The same can be said about the 8-speed ZF transmission. It's got plenty of new technology on the inside and it drives exceptionally well. Now, I do understand that the upset comes from this car being called a Supra, which is sort of a cult car, so to speak. But I'd rather have something like this than nothing. I mean, look at Ford in the US. They're only selling trucks and SUVs. The new Ford Focus RS has been cancelled, and whatever happened to the new generation Mitsubishi Evo? Oh, that got cancelled as well. At the end of the day, who cares if this is a BMW? There's nothing like it in their lineup. The Bavarians don't really have, at this moment, a 2-seater sports coupe. And I think the last one they had in their lineup was the quite awesome Z4 coupe. I know this is based on the current generation BMW Z4, but after driving both cars, I can honestly say that the Supra is better. Let me explain. The Supra feels like it's more of a driver's car than the Z4. Its setup is surprisingly different to that of the BMW. The suspension is a bit more firm, there's less body roll, and the steering is a bit slower, and all of that makes the Supra much more controllable at higher speeds. Driving the new Toyota Supra in a sporty manner feels like being in the middle of a well-choreographed tango between the front and the rear of the car. Flick it into a corner and the front wheels begin to grip quite well, and right when you're expecting understeer to kick in, the back end of the car starts to come into play and the whole car basically rotates around. You'll probably experience some level of understeer on a track, but on these back roads, it's barely noticeable. The body roll is extremely well controlled if you have the car in sport mode, and the steering weight is just right. I also love that the Supra steering wheel is not as thick as other BMW M Sport steering wheels are, so that's a plus in my book. The driving modes are also different to what you'll find in BMWs. You only have normal and sport modes. That's it. No Eco or Sport Plus driving mode. But when you press the traction control button once, the exhaust starts to burble a bit more. The balance of this thing is sublime. And if you turn the traction control half off, basically BMW's MDM mode, you can make the rear of the car slide quite easily by feathering the throttle pedal. The engine is superb. It produces 340 horsepower and 500 Nm of torque, and it can take the new Supra to 100 km/h from standstill in just 4.3 seconds. It's powerful, it pulls like crazy from low down in the rev range, and most importantly for Supra fans, it's highly tunable. Apparently you can easily take this engine up to 1000 horsepower. The transmission is an 8-speed ZF box, one of the best in the business like I've said before, and it works extremely well together with this engine. Its software was tuned by Toyota to help differentiate it from the Z4, but to be honest, I don't really feel the difference. I'm also pretty impressed by the brakes of this car. They're made by Brembo. They stop the car very well in its tracks, and there's very little fade when driving it fast on these back roads. Unlike the brakes from certain BMWs I've drove recently. So what's the one big problem that a new Toyota Supra has? Well, it's the BMW M2 competition. Let me explain. In Sweden at least, the M2 competition's base price is lower than that of the new Supra. And if you spec these two cars similarly, the prices are almost identical. And for that money, the M2 competition is a bit faster, it's more practical because it has 2 extra seats and a larger boot, and it's a full-on M car, while the Supra is basically an M Performance BMW. And also you can have the BMW with a manual transmission, and that shaves off another 3,000 euros from the asking price. But to be fair, the Supra comes with a couple of options that you can't even fit to an M2 competition, such as the head-up display, the adaptive suspension system, and radar-guided cruise control. But yeah, as a conclusion, I think the new Toyota Supra is fabulous. It looks great, at least in my eyes, it drives extremely well, and even though it is quite expensive, you do get a lot for your money. But that's been it for today's video, my friends. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up if you have, and make sure you're subscribed for plenty more videos to come. And until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you around.